man, physical media man, physical media man. What'd you buy? Was it something good?
What's up, guys? Physical Media Man back here again for another bonus video. I got September's monthly movie reviews video for you. This will be my third time doing this, so hopefully I've gotten a little better. Let me know what you think of these reviews and how I'm doing. If you have any tips on things I could do differently to make it better. Before I get started, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, leave feedback down below. I'll leave the links to my Instagram page, as well as my selling Instagram page, the Physical Media Man Store, my Facebook Physical Media Man Store, and my other store on Facebook as well, the Hodgepodge Garage, where I'll sell other items that are not media related. I'll leave the link to my email. If you're interested in any items, you can contact me on any of those platforms. I'll leave the link to my Twitter, which I haven't used too much, and my Film Aficionado page, where you can see my collection, which is not up to date by any means, and my wish list of movies I'm after. I think that pretty much covers everything. If you follow along on my non-Physical Media Man store, my just Physical Media Man Instagram, you should be able to see these items, or not, these movies that I post when I watch them, so you can kind of follow along there. But looks like I've watched 2, 4, 6, 12 movies, or 11 movies, one TV show during the month of September. Not as much as last month, but some pretty good stuff. And I've written down my grades and the ones I'd suggest most watching. So that kind of sounded weird. But anyways, all right. So first up, we watched The Hitman's Bodyguard, starring Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, as well as Gary Oldman and Selma Hayek. This was the first movie we watched during this month. It came out in 2017, so this is a pretty new movie. I only paid $3.50 for it, so I would definitely recommend this one. So Ryan Reynolds was like in the CIA, or was a cop or something, and something happens, or he was a bodyguard basically. He would help people get from one place to another basically. But something happens where he's kind of lost that job title. So anyways, Samuel L. Jackson plays an assassin or hitman, and he just gotten arrested, and they're trying to transport him from one place to another so he can go testify about something. I won't go into detail on that, but there's someone within the organization that is trying to sabotage this transfer, and no one can be trusted in that organization. So one of the cops or whatever in that organization had a fling and dated Ryan Reynolds, and knew that he would be good at this and be able to help get him transported to where he needed to go. And they know each other from the past, and they don't really get along, so it's kind of them fighting with each other. It was very funny, and just a well-made movie. Really enjoyed this one. I would give it a solid B. Highly recommend it. Next up, we finally watched the original Tron on Blu-ray DVD. Watched the Blu-ray obviously, and this one is kind of hard to explain, but Jeff Bridges, they're quite a bit different. Jeff Bridges works at a arcade store, but he had made these games, and someone kind of stole and acted like they made them. So there's this problem with the game, and Jeff Bridges goes into the system, and it's kind of like showing the inside of the computer and how things are actually happening. I would say this movie is definitely ahead of its time. Very enjoyable. Don't really know how to explain it too well, but it is really well made. Really enjoy it. I would also give this one a solid B. Don't worry, they're not all solid Bs here. We got some. I don't really know how to explain that movie too well. It's different, but if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Next up, we started the first season and finished it in the month. We still have the second season to watch, but we got Sports Night. This only lasted 2 seasons, so this is the complete series. I was really happy to pick this up. I don't know if you can see it. So we watched Parenthood, and this guy was one of the dads on the show. He was very good on that show. This is Felicity Huffman. She was on Desperate Housewives. He's in a lot of stuff. I'm not sure what from exactly. And this is Dan Rydell on the show, but he was in SWAT, Dead Poet Society, and a lot of other things you'd recognize him from. And these two are also recognizable. So, great cast. It's basically about a late night sports show, and so you don't have to be a sports fan. Excuse me. So he plays Casey McCall, and he plays Dan Rydell. So they're the anchors of the show. She's the producer. He's the producer's boss. She's the assistant producer, and he's like almost like a researcher, but he's pretty integral to the show. But overall, this movie's great. You don't have to be a sports fan, like I said. It's just dealing with their lives and the show and things that the problems that arise for the show. I mean, it is very good. I gave it a solid A-. I haven't watched the second season yet. I wish shows like this lasted longer than 2 seasons. I mean, not completely original, but very enjoyable, very well made, and I highly recommend this one. I give it an A-. I'm excited to watch the second season, so hopefully we finish that during the month of October. Next up is we watched The Death and Life of Bobby Z. Watched this one on TV when we were in Colorado. My buddy from college, he said that was one of the movies he would keep if he doesn't really have a collection. I think he got rid of quite a bit of his movies, but he said he would keep that and acted like it was really good. And we went to watch it, and he remembered it a lot better than the rewatch. I gave it a D. So Paul Walker's the main person in it. He plays a person that's, I think he's had his 3rd strike or something. He's been in jail a lot, and the FBI or the CIA or somebody has him play this drug dealer that's also, he's just gone missing, which apparently he looks like him, but if you knew him, how would you not recognize that it's not him? I didn't really understand that. So he goes and tries to act like him for this deal to help get this person arrested and all this stuff, and it was not good. So I'm not going to go into much detail. I would give it a D. Next up, we watched On September 11th, which was kind of bizarre. Did not know what this was about going into watching it, so it made it very strange. We got Kurt Russell in Executive Decision. It's also starring Halle Berry, John Leguizamo, Oliver Platt, and Steven Seagal. It's about this group of terrorists that take over a plane. Kurt Russell he's almost like a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. He's not a military person. He's almost just like someone that they would talk to. I'm drawing a blank on that word. Someone that they would go to for advice. Anyways, so he plays that person, and he acts like, I can't remember what he was trying to tell him to do, but they decide to take this fighter plane thing, get over top of the plane, and get some military people on the plane to help take the plane back. It was very good, and like I said, it was weird watching this because they were trying to bomb some place, take over a plane, and it's basically like 9/11, and this came out in 1996. Kurt Russell's a consultant. That's the word I was looking for. And this was a very good movie. I highly recommend it. I gave it a B-. It's very good. Very suspenseful, plenty of action. I thought the cast was really well cast, and they do a great job of working together. So yeah, I recommend that one. It's also from Joe Silver, who was the producer of The Matrix, and director Stuart Baird, who directed U.S. Marshals. So kind of has a U.S. Marshals feel to it. Next up, we watched Tron Legacy. So this was the sequel. It picks up probably 20 or 30 years later. Has Jeff Bridges as well as his son are the two main characters, and it also has Olivia Wilde in it. She does a good job. So kind of the same thing. Jeff Bridges from the first movie, he gets the credit for the games, kind of takes over the company, is really well known. He's a visionary, and all of a sudden he goes missing. They presume he's dead. He's really trapped in this Tron universe, and his son tries to go in and get him out. That's basically how I would describe it. Pretty similar to the first one, a little different. Very good film. Compared to the first one, this one's not as good, but also very good. I gave it a B-, so a B and a B- for the Tron movies. I highly recommend these. They're very, very well made. Next up, which was, I've been dying to get my wife to watch this movie. I really enjoyed it. We got Howard the Duck, which George Lucas presented. He did not direct. It's directed by Willard Huyck, something like that. I looked at the trivia on this one, and he did not direct a movie after. This was considered a complete failure. It was kind of George Lucas's pet project that he put a lot of money into, and so did the company, I think. But he had to sell some stuff after it flopped. This is about a duck that talks, and he somehow comes to Earth. The place he is from is basically Earth, but it's all ducks. And then he runs into Lee Thompson. You'd probably most know from Back to the Future. She's in a band and she helps him. And then Tim Robbins is not a scientist, but he works at a museum. And they all kind of try to help Howard. And then this bad person, I can't remember, something Lord, Death Lord or something, he tries to take over, let more of him, bad people, come from his universe to Earth to take over the complete Earth. That's how I would explain it. And Howard and Tim Robbins and Lee Thompson try to stop this from happening. It's not a great movie by any means, but I was losing. It's hilarious. I thought it was great. Very enjoyable to watch. Not an amazing movie, so I gave it a C+, but I still highly recommend it. I thought it was I thought it was great. I don't know. I don't know why I was losing it. And he kept calling Tim Robbins Philzy. His name's Phil. He kept calling him Philzy. I don't know why I thought that was hilarious, but he just kept calling him that. I thought it was great. Next up, sorry, I had a break there. I messed up. Next up, I went to a theater movie with my buddy Corey. Shout out to him. We went and watched White Boy Rick here in my local town. It's based on a true story, starring Matthew McConaughey. I think it was introducing the main character, so this was his first movie, basically. If it wasn't, it was one of his first. It's got a Slater from Dazed and Confused, so it reunites Matthew McConaughey and him. It also has Holly Hunter. Is that right? I think that's right. She's in it. I enjoyed this one. It was a little disappointing though. So based on a true story, location setting is Detroit. It's the youngest FBI informant ever. He helps bring down this big drug ring. So he gets inside and he's part of it. So then they get the guy and he's out and decides to go back in and do it on his own, and he becomes the main guy in Detroit. Ends up getting, well, I won't go into much detail after that, but the pacing, the acting was fantastic. I thought the acting was great. Just the pacing and the way the movie was set up, it didn't flow very well, and it seemed like, well, all of a sudden he's the guy again. I know they don't want to necessarily make the selling drugs and all that glamorous, but they just completely went over that, and all of a sudden he's the man now. And before that, it just, all of the steps, I don't know if the movie needed to be longer, they needed to focus on one aspect more than the other, or what they could have done, but it just did not seem like the pacing was that great. Like I said, the acting was great, so I don't know what necessarily they could have done better, but I just thought the movie itself definitely could have been better, and I would give it a B-. Next up, we watched a Mill Creek release of The Lords of Flatbush. This one is about a group of high schoolers, and one of them drives a motorcycle, but they're not like a motorcycle gang. They're a social group, I guess would be what you would call it. It is starring Perry King. I don't really know who that is, but Sylvester Stallone and Henry Winkler. It's one of Sylvester Stallone's first movies. I thought he did a pretty good job. Really, the people did a decent job. The story just wasn't very good. It's just like they all have love interests. They like certain girls, and really there's no point to this movie. That would be the best way to explain it. I did hear, or when I looked at the trivia, Henry Winkler kind of based his portrayal of the Fonz off of Sylvester Stallone's performance in this movie. But I just did not care for this movie at all. I don't really know how to explain it. It's watchable. If you're a big Sylvester Stallone fan, I would watch it just to watch it. Rewatchability, definitely not there. I gave this one a D too, so we had a little rough stretch here. So next up, we got Joe Dirt 2, Beautiful Loser. So it's a sequel, and this one, something happens, and he kind of flashes back to what would have happened if things were done differently, and it kind of shows him how special and how great a life he has. That would be what I would explain this to be. It has cameos from a lot of the cast of the original, and it's nowhere near as good. The charm and the jokes are just not funny, especially compared to the first one, and a lot of stupid humor it didn't need it. I I was very disappointed in this one. I gave it an F. I would not recommend this at all. I'll keep it just to have it on the shelf next to the first Joe Dirt, but it's nothing like the first one. It's just not good. Not good. I expected more from Joe Dirt. Next up, I've been wanting to watch this for a while. We watched The Fisher King with Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges. This one, they both have something traumatic happen to them. I won't go into much detail on that. Robin Williams was a professor. Jeff Bridges was a radio DJ. They're both very successful, and they end up in a bad spot, both of them in their life, and they help each other get back to where they were at, basically. They have different problems and they're in different situations. I won't go into much detail. I enjoyed this. It was just a little strange and a little slow paced. It is 138 minutes, so it wasn't too terribly long. It was a good movie, just not, I don't know. It was amazing, not amazing or anything like that. So I gave this one a C+. And lastly, we watched Trainspotting. This one's directed by Danny Boyle. The biggest actor in it's Ewan McGregor. This is based in London, or I believe London. But it's about this group of friends that are basically heroin addicts, and then they try to get off, and then they get back on, and how much it affects them, and then they, I don't know. I might just read. I'm gonna read it. It delivers a wild mix of rebellious action and wicked humor. It's the story of four friends as they try to make it in the world on their own terms, and who end up planning the ultimate scam. Powered by an outstanding cast of stars, including Ewan McGregor, Robert Carl, and Johnny Lee Miller, and a high-energy soundtrack. Trainspotting is spectacular, groundbreaking entertainment. So yeah, I know it's kind of deeper than just that, and there was meaning to the movie. They kind of try to show, I don't know. I just did not care for it. I am interested to watch the second one. I know it'll kind of pick up years later. So I'm interested to watch that. I know it's gotten great reviews. Critics love it. Even my buddy, he said he watched it and really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot more than Requiem for a Dream, but I don't know, it was good. Don't get me wrong. I gave it a B- just because, I don't know. Maybe I had higher hopes. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's everything I watched for the month of September. So this stack, along with a theater movie and a movie at home. So the ones I'd recommend the most: Hitman's Bodyguard, Tron, Sports Night, and Howard the Duck. I also thought Executive Decision would be one that I would recommend too. I would definitely not recommend Lords of Flatbush, Joe Dirt 2. Everything else was watchable, pretty enjoyable. But those were the highlights. Hopefully I watched some better movies here in the month of October. Hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know what you thought of my reviews. If you have any tips on things I could do better. Hopefully I get more comfortable with doing this. This is not really my strong suit or anything like that. Hopefully I start getting better at explaining what the movie's about too. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know what you think. Make sure to comment, leave feedback, and definitely subscribe. I'm at 67 while I'm making this video. That goal of 100 by the end of the year, I think, is definitely doable. So let people know about my channel. I really enjoy doing this. So this is Physical Media Man signing off. Physical media will never die. Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man.